Bonifilio, Outer Realms, Inner Journeys. We have a treat today, someone from across the pond. Um, Simon Stone. Simon, would you like to say hello to everyone?
Hello, everyone, and most of all, hello to you, Karen.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you. I don't know. Some Brits are coming into my reality, and it's really quite fascinating. I notice they're men, but I imagine we'll have some women too. Yeah. So let me tell you a little bit about Simon. He is a medium and a psychic for 12 years, and he's been delivering messages to loved ones for many years. He built his abilities through life experiences since he was a child, and also with his experience of many cultures around the world. I'm sorry, I'm not reading very well today. Simon combines his connection to spirit, his connection to you, and his ability to read energy. I love that. He gives messages that will guide you in the present to lighten and brighten your future and to help you understand yourself and your energy more. I love it that you focus on the energy too, not just the message.
It's, I think we have to. I think we get lost in looking for a message when really, because of my background, which we'll get into in a minute, you treat the cause, not the symptom. And I believe what happens to the symptoms, the cause is the energy. Now, where does that energy come from? Why is it there? So you deal with that, then the issues that you have that you're looking for answers for will just melt away.
That's lovely. I mean, that's lovely. It really is.
Mm.
Wow, the energy work. So is that through Reiki or is it through a different modality or you can
It's it's
feel
it's
people?
it's something that I learned about energy. I realized very early on in my life that I would always feel things. Um,
Mm.
Even when I was a child, I was considered a bit of a needy child and things like that, which I understand now I'm at peace with. But it was because I would feel things, I would just know things even as a kid. And as I grew older and went through life, that never changed. And then when, for whatever reason, I got to the point where I looked at the spiritualism, you know,
Mhm.
properly, practically in my life, over 15 years ago, everything I was feeling and that suddenly makes sense. And then it realized I'm a clairsentient. And we mentioned it before, but clairsentient, we've got clairaudient, someone who hears, clairvoyant, someone who sees, clairsentient is someone who feels. So
Mhm.
and in that, and because I had a good mentor and good people that showed me the way, I suddenly understood feelings, emotions, energy, whatever you like to call them. I would get physical reactions, and when you don't know what that's about, that can cause you a lot of problems. I mean, how many times have we woken up one day and we feel on the floor, we feel flat, we feel this, and
Yep.
if and unless you lift that energy, you're going to feel that, and it can take you down to a lower vibration or a lower frequency that can bring up even more issues that gives you more trouble to deal with.
Mhm.
Whereas someone said to me, and it's so true, the only thing in this life we can control is ourselves.
Oh, that's great.
That's the only thing we can control is
That's true.
ourselves. And so, uh,
Wow.
thanks against to other people and things like that. When we get triggered or a trauma comes up, is it is it the other person that's triggered you? Their fault? No, it's not, because that person's not going to know it's going to trigger you. So what we have to do is, okay, ask myself inwardly, why has what that person just done made me feel that way? That person hasn't done it on purpose. That person hasn't done it to unsettle you. They've just done what they believe, what they think. And then we have that reaction. So instead of reacting that way, I've learned how to stop and then go, okay, why have I felt that way? And then I look at, oh, okay, because that happened to me in the past. And that's why I link that memory, that thought, that energy to that. And it's not real and it's not happening now. Um, and then suddenly that irritation, that irritability, that frustration will lift, because suddenly you realize, oh, that's where that energy comes from, is from something from the past, your childhood, whatever it may be, or even a past life. But I feel that energy will be there, and I'll feel that discombobulation, I'll feel that irritation. um, and I don't try and delve in deep to find out what it is, because it's not mine, it's not it's personal to somebody else, and they may not want other people to know that. So we have to respect that as well.
Oh,
But
yes.
I'll say to someone, I can feel this energy around you. I'm not going to open your mail that's addressed to you and read your mail. So I'm not going to delve into why, but I'm just going to let you know this is what I'm feeling. Are you okay? And if that person chooses to open up to me and then we can deal with it, then great. If they choose not to, then that's their choice as well. I think we also forget that people have a right to choose their own life, whether it's good for them or bad for them. And we live in a society now where we have to help everybody, and that's great because it's nice. It brings people together and all that. But sometimes, is it is it arrogant just to say, well, that person needs help, and then that maybe that person doesn't need help. Maybe that person needs to go through the difficult their times that they're going through to learn what they need to learn and
Oh,
stuff. Sometimes just being there and holding space is enough. We don't actually have to physically do anything.
that is so true. That is so true. I I don't know. I would imagine that well, I know how I would react if you had mentioned we were having a reading and it was tied to something. I would be curious because I would want to get to the root of that and let that go.
Hmm.
Yeah, I would
Yeah,
want.
I understand that, but can I ask you a question there, Karen? You're saying you would be curious and you would want to delve into it and find out why and deal with it.
Hmm.
Is that because you, in your experience in your life, you've dealt with your fears?
I did what with my fears?
You've dealt with them, you've understood your fears and where they come from, so they no longer affect you now.
I attribute it to, well, as a child growing up, people couldn't understand why I was so sensitive.
Yeah,
So I always thought there was something wrong with me. Um, but
that
now,
that I can relate to.
but now I understand, as I've grown. But then when my husband and my folks died, everything changed inside me. It cracked me wide open, and I became vulnerable.
Yeah.
And in becoming vulnerable, then I was able to open up myself.
Got you. So that's what I'm saying. You've gone through a period of time where you've
Yep.
looked at yourself, you've understood things, you've dealt with them, whatever it is you need to be. But you know yourself, Karen, I can talk to someone, touch on a subject about it, and it can make them feel fearful, agitated, and then suddenly they want to pull away. And I think sometimes, unless the person is open to the fact of, like you say, being curious and not having the fear and saying, look, I feel this horrible energy, but I need to sort it out and I want to get into it, then great, let's do it. But if someone's fearful and they're like, oh, not sure, then we have to give them that time. We have to give them that respect. We
Exactly.
can't push or
Yeah.
force someone into doing something that
Mhm.
A, they don't want to do, or B, they're not ready to do.
Right. Right. And you have to be ready. And when you
You do.
hear it, it has to resonate with you that that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
And that's hard for people
Mm.
um, because for me, well, people can be really judgy, and not that you are,
Mhm.
but they can be really judgy on somebody too. And
Well,
I just like getting to the point where you don't care what people think anymore. You know,
yeah. That's that's the point. That's the point. That's
yeah,
massive. That when you get to, it's not that you don't care. It's not that. It's,
yeah,
as we was talking. We are the only persons that can control us. We're the only people that control ourselves. So,
yes,
but the fears of what other people say, what other people think, that is a massive fear to release, because then suddenly when you don't care what other people think, and it's not you don't care, you don't
right,
know,
right. I
it's
don't mean to
once you
sound
suddenly
callous.
remove that fear of what other people will say, the freedom that it gives you is seriously amazing.
Well, Simon, what did you? I wrote it down. What you said to me while we were talking prior about control. Was it the only thing you
Well,
can?
the only thing in this world we can control is ourselves.
Yeah.
We can't control anybody else. We can't manipulate them. It goes to, right. It's the best way I can explain it. Um, we all want to change the world for the better, for the good. We all want to live in a wonderful world and a utopian world, and that's great. That's wonderful. But we're
Mhm.
not going to achieve that by going around and jabbing fingers in people's faces, telling them where they're going wrong and that they're doing it wrong, and they shouldn't be doing this and they shouldn't be doing that. What do we all do when someone's standing in front of you with that energy and, figurative? Exactly. We put these barriers up or we back
Mhm.
off and that. So the only way to change this world is be the best versions we can of ourselves, work on ourselves, change who we are, learn
Mhm.
our behaviors, adjust them, change them, whatever it is we need to do. So we become the best versions of ourselves, i.e. we're the only things that we can control in this world is ourselves. So make you the best version of yourself and whatever that may be and however which way you do it. So you get out there, you're living your best life, you're happy, you're lucky. And then people will sit there who know you and go, what have you done? Come in. What have you done? It's amazing. I want a bit of what you've got. You've inspired somebody else to change their life, not by telling them they're doing it wrong, by
Right. Right.
inspiring them. That's the
Mhm.
way to change the world.
Mhm. That was such an epiphany when you said that. It just, oh my God, that makes so much sense. It does.
Suddenly,
Another
if
thought
you're
that was,
living your best life and you're really happy and things are good happening to you, or if bad things happen to you, but it doesn't bother you, you just deal with them, get on life, and you've done anything, people will notice that.
yes, yeah.
And they'll always ask the question, whether in their own head or to you, they'll say, how did you do that?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
then that's the inspiration. Whereas if we all sit there and go, right, you need to do this, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong, and instantly our egos kick in and go, I don't want to hear this.
Well,
And I get that.
I've had some people later on in life be telling me what to do, and my daughter said something years ago to someone, and she was like 3. You're not the boss of me. And so that plays in my head when someone starts telling me how I should be doing something. You're not the boss of me, and who are you to
Exactly.
me? Yeah.
But then we have to contend, because if you say that to someone, you're
Hmm.
like, you're not the boss of me, or who do
Oh,
you think you are, or whatever, then
yeah,
suddenly, well, I'm only trying to help you, and in their mind,
they are
they
trying.
are. So they
Mhm.
think, but this is where the ego, people think ego is a bad thing. And yeah, we can be an ego in a bad way, but also we can be doing something good, but it's from ego
Hmm.
like that. Well, I'm only trying to do something nice. Yeah, but who says that you have to do that? Maybe that person needs to go through that bad experience to learn.
Exactly.
Because again, we never learn anything when someone tells us. We only learn it when we feel it
And experience it,
and
yes.
experience it. Exactly. And that's the only way we learn. If everything goes right for us, we'll learn nothing.
This is true. It would be
Everything
so
just
nice,
happens the way
wouldn't
we
it?
want it,
Yeah.
and so I am one of these. If it's a bad experience and it's horrible energy and there's fear and everything, I'm like you, Karen. I'm like, I'm curious. I want to deal with this. I want to remove this because I don't like being in fear and I don't like the way it makes me think. But I had to get to that point. And a
Yes.
lot of people are fearful of how it makes them feel, what other people are saying, like you just said just a minute ago about judgment as well, criticism, the whole lot. And if we can take that emotion out, if we can take that ego out, where we think someone's having a go at us, and then just take us out as a party and look at it and go, actually, I see your point. Those behaviours are what causes me the problems. It's not what happened however many years ago. It's the consequences of that. Let's
Yeah.
remove those behaviors.
Yep. The consequences. So
Mm.
if someone comes to you for a psychic reading, um, do you just kind of get a feel for them, or do you ask them when?
Well,
Kind of tell
again,
me how that
I'm glad
shifts.
that's a lovely question, and I like that question purely just because I'm not going to explain how I work, because most people think, oh, if you're psychic, you're this, if you're medium, you're that, and I work slightly differently.
Oh.
So what I do is, because I've in my development as well, I've got a bit of an engineering background, so I've got a logic with a lot of things that I do.
Oh, yes, you
Now
do.
I know, so I have that battle all the time. But one thing I did in my development, I said to Spirit quite often, it started off as ego. I'm going to admit it did start off as ego. I was saying, I don't want to be the best, but I don't want to be wishy washy either. I want to be a medium that actually comes out with something, specific evidence. I didn't just want to be one of these mediums, and I'm not criticizing mediums because everything is coming from the right place and the right intention. But I didn't want to be one of these mediums that says, I've got your granny here, your nan, she loves you lots and she bakes lots of cakes. Well, that's pretty much 90% of people's grandmas or grandparents or whatever. Everyone's got someone like that in their life or did have. So I wanted to come out with specific details so I know specific people and stuff like that. But in that process, I then said to Spirit, what if I was Spirit and I'm giving a message to one of my loved ones who's left behind and I'm in Spirit? Do I really want to come through and just say, this is my name, this is my age, this is how I died, and I love you lots, and I'll speak to you soon? No, if I've got the opportunity, if I'm a spirit and I've got the opportunity to communicate with my loved ones, I want to give them a bit of love and guidance with what's going on in their life right now. So what I do is how I've learned is, whether I'm doing a dem or one-to-one, whether they're on the screen or in front of me, first of all is I connect to their energy in a psychic sense. So I'll start off with, just talking to them about them as a psychic person, the energy that I'm reading about them. And I may feel agitation, happiness, whatever it is I'm feeling. And as I'm doing that and I'm talking to that person, I'm then communicating with Spirit, and I say, right, in you come Spirit. And then I feel Spirit come in. And then I say, right, this person's feeling agitated. Why are they feeling agitated? Because of this, because of that, because there's a situation going on, or there's a legal matter, or there's family problem, whatever it is I get from Spirit. So I go, and then I say, right, I'm getting all this energy, etc., etc. I feel the irritability. However, I've got a lady here. She looks like this. She dresses like this. I feel that she's I feel she's a grandma or a mum, but I feel that maternal sort of energy. And I describe how they look, everything else. And I say, do you know who I got with me? And that person will 9 times out of 10 said, yes, I know who you got with me, or not really sure. It could be 2 people. So I keep going until they definitively know who I've got with me. And then I say, right, now this person is showing me that irritability you're feeling, it's to do with this kind of situation. And obviously I don't divulge personal details online because I get that from Spirit, and I won't. I'll say to someone, would you understand about a situation that makes me feel like this or makes you feel, and that person will say yes. And I say, I won't give you any more detail, but you know what I'm talking about. And they go, yes, I do. And I said, right, so I won't give you the personal details because I want to embarrass you in front of other people, etc. However, a Spirit has shown me this. That's why you feel irritation. And this is what needs to happen, or this is what you need to do. Well, not even need, but this is what they're advising, this is what they guide. Would you understand why they say, oh my God, yes, I get that, so on and so forth. So it helps people in the now.
Yeah. Simon, that's fabulous.
So that's how I try to work. It doesn't always come out like that. You know what it's like, Carol, working with Spirit. Could be something else that is more important that Spirit want to get through. So I just literally go with how I feel. I feel their energy. I talk to the person to create a connection between me and that person. Because I've got that connection with person, I personally find that then my connection with Spirit that comes in a few seconds after that is stronger because I've got the psychic connection with the person I'm talking to.
That validation is incredible, though.
Yes.
It is incredible.
Yes.
And you're not, and I like how it's very specific too.
Yes.
When you tap into the Spirit.
Yes. Because I'm clairsentient, I will feel everything straight away. The audience and the visual for me came later in my development. And so I could sit here and I'll feel even happiness. I know when someone's cock a hoop and everything, I'll go, oh, this, you're feeling amazing at the moment. I feel really upbeat. I feel really this, really that. And she, oh yeah, I feel that. That's great. I said, I feel like something's happened for you. You've achieved something, and it's like really opened you up. And I could say it's to do with a job or relationship or something, whatever it is. And I'll be shown what it is. And they go, oh, you're absolutely spot on. That's exactly what it is. So it's not just all doom and gloom. I'm just saying I will pick up that person's energy and I will physically feel that. And because of my life experiences, I can relate that feeling to, you know, oh, I remember that when I had success, or I remember that when I was at a low point, or I remember that when I was grieving, or I remember. So I feel that, oh, it's a grieving energy, or it's a happy energy, or it's a sad, or it's an anger, or it's an irritation. I will feel that because my body will feel that. So in that moment, I know what I'm feeling is coming from them. Then I ask Spirit in my mind, why are they feeling this? Show me why I'm feeling this energy. And then I get the visual and the words with it.
Simon, I haven't heard of anybody so far that I've known that does that.
Okay, it's interesting. I thought everybody did.
Isn't that?
I thought there's
No, I've interviewed a lot of people. No one has ever mentioned that. Ever.
because
Maybe they just didn't mention it, but no.
but I got a good friend that says this anyway, and I've always believed this. People say to me, "How do I connect to spirit?" And I say, "Well, actually, I don't connect to spirit. I am spirit."
Mm.
So if you're feeling something,
Mm-hmm.
if I get my spirit to connect to yours, because we're all connected, if I can get it connected to yours, I
Wonderful.
will feel how you're feeling. Does that
Wow.
make sense?
Yeah, no, it's
Because we keep hearing this, we're all connected. So how does
yep.
that mean into everyday life? To a
Mhm.
normal human being, say, how's everyone connected? I don't get it. How is everyone connected? We are, and it's about intention. So if I'm saying I'm giving you a reading, say, Karen, I'm in the UK, you're in the States, I
Mhm.
will visually in my head project myself as a consciousness sat next to you. So I'd see you on the screen and I'll picture that I'm sat next to you. And then as I'm talking to you in my mind's eye, I'm reading what my consciousness, projected consciousness, is feeling by sat next to you.
Oh, Simon.
And
I
then
just
I tell you that and you go yes or no or
yes or
whatever.
no. Yeah.
And I'm another one. I really don't mind anyone saying no to me. And the reason why I don't take umbrage when someone says, no, I'm not understanding what you're saying, is because every time that's happened to me, I've realized it's that I've worded it wrong.
Oh,
Spirit haven't got it wrong. It's me that's worded it wrong.
oh.
So I will then go take that and go, no, I don't. Okay, well, I'll get more information to help you understand it. Or I'll say, and I've done this a few times, I can say something, and halfway through I'm saying something, spirit or my own energy, whatever, something in my body will let me know what I'm saying is wrong. It doesn't feel right. And I'll stop and I go, oh, hang on, that don't feel right. Let me reword it. I'll reword it. And then the person goes, I can take exactly what you mean now.
That's hindering. So spirit interrupts you, so you get the message right.
Exactly, get it right. But that's again because I feel energy. How I get that little message I'm getting it wrong is I'm saying what I'm saying, and then suddenly there'll be a little knot in my stomach, and it'll just go dink, just a little tweak, and I'm like, oh, that didn't feel right. So I didn't feel right for a reason. Backtrack, well, not backtrack, reverse, and then it's like then I hear just reword it. So I reword it. The message is still the same, but I've reworded it, and then that person goes, I know what you mean now.
Okay, so I want to give you a scenario. I have a friend that for the last 30 years, she's been doing self-improvement and trying all these things. She's has a lot of disease in her body and has gone to workshops and classes, but she still remains in that mode. In that, to me, it's stagnation after all this time. So you could tap into all of that and
Yeah,
figure out.
but I can tell now as you're saying it, what she needs to do instantly, shut the noise down.
Shut the noise down. Okay.
Because she's looking outward, going to workshops, going to this, going to that, whatever, for
Oh,
self-improve, self-help. And
yeah.
that may help, that may not help. But I don't know who this lady is, but whoever this person is, she's shutting her brain down. So she's constantly repeating all her old cycles in her head. So she's never going to move out the energy until she shuts that down.
And I always wondered, you're doing all this stuff. Why can't you just let go? I
That's
just
it.
can't
Letting
understand.
go of that. And you can't let go when it's constantly cycling in your mind.
Oh, okay.
Because we're energy beings.
Yes, we are.
So we will create the energy that we live in. So if you've got something in your mind that you're constantly going over and it causes you pain, fear, suffering in whatever level, until you remove that out of your head, a thought, a memory, and realize that thought and memory was however long ago, it's not happening to me now, you'll never move on.
Well, I want her. I want her to grow and to develop and not have to come back and do this again. I actually told her I'm not coming back and doing this shit with you again. You know.
Many years ago, I said, I was in a trance session many years ago, and the spirit was coming through, and there was a group of us, about 5 or 6, and I said to the spirit, "Could I ask a question?" And he said, the spirit was a male, and he said, "Yes, you're." And I said, "Why have I done so much in my life? The short period of time I've been here in this life, I've done a lot in my life that would fit most people's 3 lifetimes." And he turned around and he said, "Because before you came here," he said, "you categorically said you're never coming back here again because you don't like it here." And I went, "That makes total sense. It's not I don't like people. I don't like the society. I don't like the way we treat people. I don't like the way the systems are set up. I just don't like it. I've always felt that, not just spiritually." So when he said that, I was like, that makes complete and utter sense. And I said, "So why have I been so busy then?" He said, "It's because we're trying to fit as many lessons as we can in before you go back." Sort of thing. I went, right, I get it now. So
you don't want to come back.
No, I don't want to come back here. I want to go elsewhere. There's so much nicer places to go to.
Yes, but you volunteered for this.
Exactly. So this is why, another thing, why I think the fear thing, the horrible feelings, the emotions, all the energy, frequency, vibrate when it's low. Instead of being fearful about it, I've now got to confront it. And well, not now, but I've been confronting it over years because of that reason. I don't want to, I hate being ruled by fear. So deal with it.
I just want to ask you something off the cuff. What are your thoughts or experiences with parallel universes?
Oh, funny you should say that. I had a conversation with someone just the other day about this, exactly that. Now, I'm a believer. I will get onto the parallel. There is a link to this. I'm a believer, for want of a better expression, that we're a god of our own world. So we create everything in our own world. Now, also, if we are that and we are the creator of our own worlds, then imagine how many dimensions there are in this world. There's an infinite number of dimensions and parallel universes. And it could be simply the difference to me and you could be talking, doing this now in another parallel universe, another dimension. But instead of me wearing this black jumper or grey jumper, I'm wearing a red one. It can be really as subtle as that. However, yeah, parallel universes is exactly that. Other lives, other universes that are running parallel. Now, this is the discussion I was having with. We have the ability to jump from whatever dimension or parallel universe we want to be on, and that can be a conscious thing or it can be an unconscious thing.
How do you do that?
How do you do that? By making the change.
You have to explain that to me.
Right.
Making the change.
Come up to a junction, really simple one. You come up to a junction, do you turn left or do you turn right? Every single day up until that point, you've always turned right. But that one day you go, do you know what? I'm going to turn left. And then you'll have a different experience. You've just jumped to a different universe.
Do you know that you have gone to a different reality that you occupy?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. It's again, you're a god of your own world. So if you want to change your life, you'll make a different decision or you'll do something different or, you'll just change things. That's changing you from different parallels without even realizing you think you're just changing your life. Now, if you change your life, like you say, you turn left instead of right one day, right? Do you think the person who would have chosen right carries on? That life, you would have turned right and carried on. But that day you decided to turn left. But that parallel universe of yours that you was on previously would have still turned right and carried on with your the life. But because that day you decided to change left, you've automatically jumped without realizing it. Now, the bit where I say yes, you do make a difference is how my personal experience of this is, and I've had this about 5 times in the last 5 years. People are going to think I'm absolutely crazy when I'm about to say this, but stuff it. I'm going to say it.
Crazy's good.
There's moments where I'm like, I just get a feeling something feels different. So I will stop and I'll consciously go, okay, I feel different. The world feels different. Why? And then I look around and I'll notice some things that are different. I.e., I used to have an iPhone that was a blue one. Now suddenly it was red, and I'm like, no, hang on, that was blue before.
Oh
Why?
my
Why?
God.
I know that was blue before. Why is it now red? Why is that now an issue for me? Because it's like I look at it and I go, oh yeah, it's my red iPhone. But there's a part of me saying, no, that was blue.
So you jumped.
That's what I call then a timeline shift. Now I'm getting really down a rabbit hole here, so I've got to be careful what I say. I am a firm believer that whether it's humans or other beings or whatever, I don't know. But I
Mhm.
believe if you can manipulate energy, frequency, and things like that on a fundamental level, I believe you can create timeline shifts to the point that you can actually, and other people, you can make other people do it. There's I don't know if your viewers want to know this, but there was a device that was invented in the 50s or the 60s called a chronovisor, and it was actually invented by a priest who worked at the Vatican. He was one of the scientific priests, and he
Oh.
created a device. It's all conspiracy, don't get me wrong, but since the last 20, 30 years, some evidence come out to prove that this device exists.
It does.
Okay. And it's called a chronovisor. And the idea is that you can look at this device and you can say me, for instance, someone would look at that device and they pick me and they can see my timeline and see what's going to happen in my life.
Kind
And
of
then
like the Akashic records right at your
you've
fingertips.
got it. You've got it. Now, you know yourself for the Akashic records, because
Mhm.
I can go to the Akashic records and only certain people can go there as well. Not everyone's allowed to go there. It's almost like, well, my experience, I had to prove myself before Spirit let me in, to the point that when I went there before, they just wouldn't let me in. And then it was a few years later, I was given a crystal, and Spirit said to me, go to the Akashic records. And I went to the Akashic and they said that crystal was the key. Could I prove? Because you know yourself, Karen, the information you can get in the Akashic records can be quite explosive. You can change someone's life with it. So we
Yeah.
have to be very responsible with the information we find out.
Mhm.
Um, but there's been many a book I've looked at the Akashic records where I've tried to look into the future and the pages are blank. But when I go to present day, I can see like the writing being written out as they're living their life. So how I took that was, although there's a set path with us with the future, which I understand, it's not a set path as in you can have the same experience that you're supposed to have on your path where you live in the States, or something could happen, you move to the UK, but you'll still have that same experience. So
Okay.
you can still dictate the road that you're going down, but you will still experience the lessons and the experiences that you're supposed to learn. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I was just going to say that makes sense. That makes
It's
sense.
just the circumstances around it may be different based on your choices.
So, Simon, if someone comes to you and wants to visit the Akashic records, do you need to get permission to be able to look into their Akashic record, or
No,
you don't?
no, I can go there, but what I do, and I say this to anybody, when I go there to the Akashic Records, it is almost like I'm asking permission, and it's not permission as in go there; it's permission as to say, should I be doing this? Does this person need
Oh,
to do this? And if spirits say no, I will tell that person, I'm sorry, but spirit aren't allowing me to show you that. So there's a reason for it. And then I'll speak to the person later. Why do you want to go to the Akashic Records? Why do you want to do this? Let's look at that. But there's other times when I go to the Akashic Records and I'm just let straight in and I can pick that person's book off the wall and have
mhm.
a look. And then to save myself from confusion, I say to Spirit, just only show me the words I can say, because I find if they give me a whole thing and I say everything, a part of that can cause a problem, a person problems, mental problems or whatever, and they
Oh,
they can then base their decisions on what I tell them and things like that, which I don't feel comfortable with. I
uh,
always feel spiritual stuff, Akashic records, spiritual readings, psychic readings, whatever it's a guide.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I made the mistake many, many, many moons ago having a reading, and then I would try and actively make those things happen that I was told about in the reading rather than just living and let live, and then letting those things
Let it
happen
flow.
to me. Yeah. And this is the part of the human ego. We've always got to feel in control of where we're going and what we're doing.
Yep.
And it's
Yep,
about
that's
that,
true.
about just
Yeah.
removing that ego, finding
Mhm.
that surrender, and just saying things will happen how they're meant to happen. Now, how are they meant to happen? Well, that depends on you and your choices. So if you make a bad choice, you're going to get the consequences for that. If you make a good choice, you're going to get the good consequences for that. But that's part of the journey, that's part of the lesson. So when you make a bad choice, the consequences, and life says that was a bad choice, and you go, oh yeah, I shouldn't have done that, and you learn that lesson, or you're supposed to, because if you don't, Karen, you know, well,
Mhm.
life and spirit will keep bringing that lesson over and over and over again until you learn it.
I have stood and said, I understand. I've got this lesson. You don't have to keep giving it to me. Yeah. Yeah.
But how many times have you said that, and then after you've said that, something happens and it's a little bit of that lesson, and you go, oh, I didn't think of that, I got that bit now, and then suddenly you've learned your lesson. But
Yes.
I've done
Yes.
that many times. I've sat there going, Spirit, really? Oh, come on.
Yeah.
And then something happens a week later, and I'm like, oh,
Uh-huh.
I get that now. I
I,
understand it now.
I
So
got
again,
you.
it's our human ego that always gets in our way.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Simon, this is so true. Tell me about the variety of classes you have because this sounds fascinating. It
Well,
does.
as my title says, I love that. Jack of all
Jack
trades.
of all trades.
That was another thing. I was one of these because of the type of person I am. I want to learn as much as I can about something. So we use the word spiritualism, and under that word, that umbrella, that encapsulates so many things:
Oh, God, chills over here.
mediumship, psychic work, healing, Reiki healing, spiritual healing, Akashic records. Oh, there's so many things.
Yeah.
Now, me being me and being a bit of a nosy bugger, I want to know a bit about everything, so I'll learn it all. So over the years, I mean, I've been doing it, practically now for like 12 years, giving readings, healing, whatever it is. But I've done trance workshop. I know I can't really talk in trance myself, but I know how to do it, and I can show other people, but I don't really do that. But I do energy workshops. I do just basic development workshops because, again, this isn't a criticism of everybody else, but you know yourself, Karen, spiritualism as a movement as a whole is changing massively. It's
Yeah.
not,
Oh,
if you
open
go
up.
back 20, 30 years, spiritualism was literally that, a demonstration. Someone would sit in front of you, give you messages from your past loved ones, and that was it. It was just a demonstration.
Right.
Now we're understanding about vibration, frequency, past lives,
Mm,
journeys, timelines. That's all in our lexicon now, and we're starting to understand spiritualism in a different sense. So someone who's a medium isn't born with the gift. People say, oh, it's a gift. No, with respect, I don't believe that. Everybody can do this
oh,
if you're
yes.
shown how to do
Yes.
it. So it's the same as soccer or American football. You're going to get some who are really good at it and some are not so good at it. It's just,
Good
that's a fact of
analogy.
life, so I don't believe it's a gift. So this thing, and it's not something that's separate. So we have our human life, and then, oh, I go and see someone, them, and it's a separate thing. It's
Mhm.
not. This, I believe, spiritualism, we're starting to understand now, it's everything about us. It's how we live our life.
Right.
Everything. It's about energies, vibration, frequency, the whole thing. It's everything. So this, I'm just a medium, or I'm just a psychic, or I'm just a healer. No, you're not. You're all of it. It's just
Take the word just
you're choosing what it is you want to be, what it is you want to label yourself as.
out.
And
Mhm.
that's fine to help other people understand where you're coming from. So I say I'm a psychic medium, healer, whatever. But so other things I do. So basic development, the first thing I do is workshops I do is get to know your own energy, sit in your own power.
Oh, awesome.
First exercise I do, I say,
Mhm.
right, before we do all the spiritual stuff, I want you to sit there for 30 minutes. I don't want you to meditate. I don't want you to sleep. I don't want you to think. I don't want you to do nothing. Just sit there in complete silence for 30 minutes. How many people can do that? They don't even get past 2 minutes before they start fidgeting, and because you're not aligned to your own energy. But if you,
30 minutes?
pardon,
30 minutes.
you try that. Just sit there in complete silence for 30 minutes.
Oh, when I
I say
meditate,
that as a thing to frighten, and literally after 5 minutes, I stop it because everyone's discombobulated
yeah, they can't do
because
their.
they
I don't
can't
know if it
handle
could
it.
be
And I
30
said,
minutes.
this is what this is about. You
I think
have
I'd
to
fall
know.
asleep.
You have to know your energy first, because your spirit. How does your body feel? How do you react? Everything. Know your energy. So, because of the development, so when you move forward and you'll become a medium, how do you know when a spirit comes into you what you're feeling, seeing, thinking is spirit and what's you? The only reason you know is you'll sit there and
Oh,
go, oh, a new energy. Oh, that's not
the
my energy. There you go,
energy.
it's
The
spirit.
energy. Awesome.
Because
The
I sit
energy.
there, I can talk to you, and as I'm talking to you, in my mind, I say, as I said earlier, say, spirit, right, in you come. I could talk to you, and then I feel an outside presence, an outside energy from my body that my body will physically pick up and then go, I will feel it on left, right, behind me, wherever it comes in, and I'll feel, an energy from that spirit. I feel a different person, whether it's happiness, agitation, whatever. I feel that person's energy coming in. But my body, because I know my energy,
Yeah.
myself goes, oh, that new energy, that's not me, that's spirit. So that's my first indication that spirit have come to me, by a feeling.
You
And
know,
then
yeah, that's incredible. I just think your classes are going to be really, really good, to tell you
well,
the truth.
I do workshops all day. I haven't done any for a little while, actually. I've got to be honest, this last 6 months, again, on my own journey, you know this yourself, Karen, a
Mhm.
lot of people being taken to the next level, or
Yes.
there's a
Mhm.
lot of downloads going on. This year has been quite a brutal year when it comes to energy and changes and everything else. But that's to align us all, to make sure our mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical self are all in alignment. When
Mhm.
they're all in alignment, we're our true, authentic self. When one of those parts of us is slightly off, that's when we don't feel like ourselves. That's when we feel discombobulated, or we just don't feel right. That's when I say, before you start looking outward, stop, look at you.
Looking
Do you
inward.
feel in this way?
Yeah. Um, we're going to have to wrap up pretty soon.
That's fine.
Um, well, no, I want to keep talking to you, to tell you the truth. Really, you have presented things, Simon,
Oh,
in a.
so I'll go on and finish off what you said about the workshop I do. So I do
Oh, I'm
basic
sorry.
development. No, that's fine. I do basic development for the newcomer, basically the beginners.
Mhm.
Um, I can do more advanced stuff with more people, and I have done it with other mediums. We've done workshops with other mediums.
Mhm.
I do healing workshops, and I don't just mean Reiki healing, because I don't do. I'm only a Reiki 2. I've never felt the need to become a Reiki master, but
Mhm.
I use the principles of Reiki and energy and all that. And I show people how you can do distance healing, and people go, well, how do you do distance? Again, how I said to you, how I get people to learn how to project your consciousness to the person, to the environment, to the
Oh,
people,
holy
the
cow.
country, whatever it is that you want to heal. So you project your consciousness to, and you picture like you're standing there and putting your hands on and healing them. Another way I do it, and this was a very good friend of mine that taught me how to do this years ago. If someone's got a ailment or something in them, or they've had a heart attack, a heart attack is a good one. I use that as an instance. I know people that have had a heart attack. So I've then pictured myself in my mind. I've projected myself sat next to that person. Then I've shrunk myself to be microscopic, and I go into their body. And I don't know if you ever saw the 80s film called Inner Space. It's brilliant. It's when they shrink someone down to a and
Yes.
inject
I,
them into someone's body, right?
yes.
So I'm like that. So I'm
Yes.
going through their veins, and I get to their heart, and I go, that's why you've had a heart attack. Your arteries are furred up, or there's damage here. And then while I'm doing that, I pretend, I imagine, and I think that I'm in that artery and I'm cleaning the fat away or whatever it is. And I'm doing that not just once, but I'll do it every day for however long I feel I need to do or whatever.
Yeah.
And whenever I've done that with someone, I've noticed a difference. I haven't told anyone I've done it because I want to, make sure that the evidence is true. But I give you the guy that taught me how to do that. I give you his example that blew me away. He was part of a development group that I was involved with 12, 15 years ago. One of the most amazing healers and visualizers I've ever known with this man. He's absolutely amazing. He doesn't do anything online. He does everything face to face, but I keep trying to push him to do online because I'm saying if you can get your way of doing things out there, you'll be amazing.
Is,
Anyway,
yeah,
part of
is
this
he
group,
located in England too?
yeah. Well,
Mm.
part he does. He does live in the UK. But part of this group, there was a lady that was part of this group that had a son, a younger son, who was born deaf. And when I mean born deaf, I mean properly deaf. Hearing aids didn't really work, and stone deaf.
Okay.
Anyway, she came to the group one day, and she said something really weird has happened this week. And we said, "What?" She said, "My son has turned around and said, 'Mum, I can hear noises.' He never heard anything before, and he said, 'I can hear things.'" And my friend at the time, who was in this group at the time, went very quiet, and this was telling us the story and everything else. And we looked at this guy who would normally be talking by now, and we said, "Why are you quiet?" And he went, "I've been doing some things for the last 3 months." And we said, "What you been doing?" He said, "Well, every morning I go and walk my dogs, and I'm gone for about an hour, hour and a half." He said, "And I always project a healing to anyone that needs healing, the world, whatever." He said, "For the last 3 months, I've pictured that I'm a very small man. I'm in this child's ears, and I'm lifting up all their hairs. All their hairs are just
Oh
laid
yeah.
flat." He
Mhm.
said, "And I've just spent for the last 3 months picking every hair up one by one."
Wow.
Suddenly, this boy could start to hear noises, and as he's gone on, he hasn't got full hearing back at all, but he can now, hear with the help of aids that he never once had before.
That is fabulous. Yeah, that
Whether
man.
you believe it, that was my friend that done that or not, there's got to be belief, because that's another thing that Spirit told us through a trance session we had. If
Mhm.
you have any doubt or any belief that this is not going to happen or anything you do doesn't work, it will not work.
Oh, you have to have a
You
hundred
have
percent.
to have that belief in you
Mhm.
that what you're doing actually works for even it to have a chance of working, let alone actually working. So you got to have that belief. So
Mhm.
if you're healing someone, you got to, not in an arrogant way, but you got to have that belief that you are truly healing that person, and just do whatever it is you need to do, and then you'll notice. And if that person is receptive to it and believes that they are being healed, then you'll notice the big difference.
But that little boy, he didn't know what was going on.
Didn't know what was going on to him at all.
Mhm.
But
Until he
because I
called
think
your
it helped him in anything, because he didn't know what was going on, he didn't allow his human ego brain to kick in and cause problems.
yeah, this isn't going to work. Yeah.
Exactly.
Hmm. Wow, Simon, fascinating. Um, I
We
think
could
we
talk
need
for
to have you
hours,
come back
seriously.
on. No, we need to have you come back on.
I
Seriously, I'm
agree.
gonna. Yeah,
I'd love to talk about any subject, because I've done physical mediumship, where we move objects. That's another thing. We done a session, and we were doing for weeks and weeks and weeks. We had this cone, like a cardboard cone, and we wanted to try and make it topple over, and we purposely made it a cone shape so it wouldn't just topple over on itself.
Mhm.
And for weeks and weeks and weeks, didn't happen. Then one night, we got it to move, and it toppled over. And then we had a trance session not long after that, and the spirit came through, and we asked, why did it topple over that time and not other times? And, blah, blah, blah. And the spirit came through, and he said, look, to make us move objects in the human 3D realm, we can't do that just on our own. We can't do that. We
Okay.
need your human energy in the 3D realm to do that. As soon as he said that, something dawned on me. That night when that thing toppled over, there was only 6 of us around it, and we were nowhere near it or whatever, and we were just meditating on trying to make this thing move. And literally seconds before it moved, my energy was completely drained. It was almost, I started slumping in the chair and
Mhm.
almost like falling asleep, but I was fully awake. I just felt so drained. I
Strange.
had no energy, no nothing, and it felt unusual. And then the spirit turned around and he said, do you remember what happened? I went, yeah, I did. He said, that was us using your energy to make that
Oh,
object move. He said,
huh.
we're in a different realm. We're in a different thing. We can
Yeah,
communicate,
they can't do
do
that.
this, we can do that. But we need your human energy in the 3D realm to make the physical objects move and stuff like that.
Wow. Okay, Simon, you're gonna be hearing from me. Yeah, you have opened up me a little more. and I'm pretty open.
That's good. I love that. I get every time I have conversations with people or have any kind of experience, I always walk away, and whether it's me doing the talking or not, I always walk away and say, "What did I learn from that?"
Right. Question for you. When I reached out to have you on my podcast, did you go and tap into my energy to see what kind of a read you would get on
You
me?
know exactly what I do, because yes, I didn't go to do it. When I read your message, I
Mhm.
will get energy. I can get energy from texts. I don't need to speak to the person.
I
And when I
know.
read your message, come and join you, I
Mhm.
knew it was the right thing to do. I didn't have any. I was like, no, this is. I'm meant to do this.
Mhm.
Again, I don't question why, because when I question why, that's when the brain kicks in and the
Yep.
human part, and it
Yep.
causes a problem. All I
Yep.
know is the energy I felt was it was a lovely energy, a kind
Mhm.
energy, and
Mhm.
I'm meant to do this. Why? We'll find out.
Yeah. All right, Simon, a complete pleasure. I thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I can hardly wait to watch this again.
I appreciate that, and thank you for giving me the space to talk, Karen.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Simon.
You're more than welcome.
Mm.